Alright guys, welcome back again to more Umineko. After checking my playing time, I realized I'm nearing 10 hours in and we're finally only now just getting to the main action of episode 5. So guys, I hope you all continue to enjoy. Thank you again for love and support. And here we go again. Alright everyone, welcome back. At some point the scenery around her had changed, but she did not notice. She could not notice. Though this should have been Rokenjima, at some point it had become the garden of a mansion she had never seen before. It was a garden she had never seen before, even grander than the great rose garden of the Ushinomiya family. A garden of gold roses. There stood an arbor, and a woman wearing an elegant dress beckoning her. There was a man who looked like a butler, and the tea he poured with a beautiful gesture had a very nice and enticing smell. It was as though they were telling her to join their tea party. She couldn't disobey. She had to go to the master of this golden rose garden and give this child as an offering.
許せ、女。魔女に見入られた不運を呪え。そして、この世で決してめでることかなわぬ黄金のバラに囲まれながら眠れ。
I gotta honestly wonder if this is a story that Natsuhi is telling herself.
ガップ。はい。
When Gop snapped her fingers, a pitch black hole opened at the woman's feet and she was swallowed up along with the baby. The sight that the woman and the baby witnessed in the very next moment probably burned itself into their eyes forever. The two floated in the air and looked down at the gold rose garden spread out below them. Below their feet was not a ground, but an unobstructed view of a golden rose garden which stretched as far as the eye can see. If one could have seen imprinted in their mind as their last memory, that would be such a merciful way to die. Then, the woman and the baby were swallowed up by the golden sea. The thud was remarkably plain and remarkably quiet for the sound of two lives being taken. However, it was a perfect fit for the entertainment at a tea party of witches. Darkness swallowed the woman and the baby and slowly expanded to engulf the entire rose garden. The sound of the wind grew stronger bit by bit. Was that TV static? What was that noise? It was the roar of the sea. The two who had died after falling from a great height into a thicket of golden roses were gradually engulfed by the roar of the sea, engulfed by the scenery of the beach below the cliff.
わらわが保証するぞ。そなたには何の罪もない。19年前の復讐とやらは、このわらわが買おうぞ。崖下の二人を見つけ、私は青ざめました。そしてお屋敷へ駆け戻り、大騒ぎになりました。大至急船で病院に運びましたが、あの高さで即死を免れただけでも奇跡。使用人も、そして赤ん坊も死にました。私はお父様から赤子を預けられ、3日も経ないうちに主人は出張中でした。当時まだお屋敷にお住まいだったローザさんもご友人と旅行中でした。六軒島には私とお父様しかいなかった。そして私とお父様以外誰もよく知らぬ間にどこからともなく赤ん坊が現れ、そして消えていった。あれはそう夢なのよ。悪夢。お父様は私を責めるに違いないと思っていました。しかし何か様子がおかしかった。
読めていたぞ、読めていたぞ、この天罰はな。どこまであがくのか、どこまで我が物にならぬというのか。からの折に興味はない。 打ち捨て。
My father learned of the accident. He kept on laughing and laughing, as though nothing could be more amusing, to the point that just listening to him disturbed me. Perhaps something had come loose in his mind. That was the day that changed him. Father shut himself up inside the world of the occult even more than he had ever had before. When my husband came back, he was astonished to see how eccentric father had now become. However, he had already accepted that this would happen sooner or later. Of course, my husband had heard about the baby. However, he told me that it was surely just some whim of father's and to forget the whole episode. So I forgot it. It was an unfortunate accident. No, there wasn't an accident at all. I forgot everything, even that the baby had existed in the first place. After all, it was a twisted nightmare which lasted not even 3 days. That's right, it was all a nightmare. I don't want to remember any of it. The cliff, the broken fence, the roar of the sea, and the wailing of that baby. For someone that claims it wasn't her that did it, and the fact that it was another servant that brought the baby with her, and then they fell off the cliff, she remembers vividly a lot that happened. If she wasn't there, how the hell does she know all the details?
その赤ん坊が19年前の赤ん坊だと？くだらぬ。わらわが殺した。すでにこの世にはおらぬわ。
しかし赤き真実なきが人間の世界、人間の世界に信用できることなどありません。
Nothing can be trusted coming out of all your mouths either.
そうね。ベアとは確かに殺したわ。でも人間の世界では生きていることになっているのかもしれない。本当に生きているのかどうかはともかくね。実は生きていたというのですか？あの高さからあの岩場に転落して。わからぬ。だが落ち着け。そやつがどうそなたを憎もうとも真実は事故だ。そなたを恨もうなどお門違いもいいところよ。でもたとえ指一本触れていないとしても私は心の中で。落ち着け。19年前の男が何を恨もうと叫ぼうとそなたを追及できる罪などあるわけもない。だから落ち着け。19年前の男はわらわの来客として迎えてやろうぞ。碑文の謎を解かれお役はごめんかと思っていた矢先だ。わらわの最後の客としてもてなしてやらねばな。
面白くなってまいりましたな。ゴールドスミス教の秘密を守るのに加え19人目の来客、さらに19年前の男とは。
そうね。金蔵が生きてると主張する私たちにとってエリカは19人目ね。その19人目の駒に19年前の男。面白いじゃない。ワクワクするわ。相手にとって不足なし。わらわの茶会の来客が一人では物足りないと思っていたところよ。来るがよい、愚か者どもめ。
Furudo Erika is Lady Berncastle's piece. In that case, whose piece is the man from 19 years ago? The voice which could be faintly overheard through the receiver was Natsuhi's.
わかりました。今すぐ出ます。部屋も出ます。電話も出ます。だから、夫と娘には。
When heard through a receiver, even these begging screams which would have shaken the heart of anyone who heard them could be listened to with a heart of ice.
母さんが俺の約束を守る限り、あんたの秘密は守ってやるよ。約束を破るなよ。俺はもうお前のすぐ近くにいる。 部屋の明かりが消えるかどうか、そして電話をしているかどうかさえ、俺には手を取るようにわかるんだ。俺さえ望むなら、あんたの寝顔にキスすることだってできるんだからな。
守ります。約束は守ります。だからやめて、もうやめて、やめて。
The receiver was set down violently. He knew very well how bad an aftertaste you could leave for the other side just by the way you hung up the phone.
じゃあね、おやすみ、母さん。
はい、一丁上がり。これで夏日は今夜は部屋から出てこないわ。
器用ね。あんた、声を変えられるの？
声くらい誰だって変えられるわよ。パパにおねだりの時は甘い声。学校休む時は風邪っぽい声。実は嫌いな友達に断る時は申し訳なさそうな声。
お望みなら
どんな声でも
使うわけて。
見せるけど。
あんた、魔女やめたら声優になるといいわ。
これでお互い駒の準備は OK かしら。フルドエリカ、なかなか素敵な駒じゃない。演者なんかよりはるかにベルにふさわしい駒だわ。
お褒めに預かりまして光栄です。ラムダデルタ卿。
こちらこそよろしくよ。素敵だわ。本当に可愛い。魔女幻想に屈服させて、その顔を屈辱に歪めてやりたいわ。
だそうよ。私に恥をかかせないでよね。演者よりはるかに使える駒だってことを見せてちょうだい。
お任せを。ベルンカステル卿、我が主。私はあのような、ネクラで、低能で、可愛げのかけらもない駒とは違います。ほんとよね。演者なんて、クズ肉になってバトラを焚きつける以外、何の役にも立たなかったわ。家族愛とか兄弟愛とか、私たちは全然興味ないの。私たちが見たいゲームは、もっとえぐくてドロドロしてて、グロテスクでポップでキュートな殺人事件だもの。
夏日がキングで、ベアトがクイーンってとこかしら。夏日をかばって群がる魔女と家具たちは、チェスの駒というよりは、
ボーリングのピンって感じ。夏日にベアと、金蔵にガラクタ家具の幻想たち。私たちを楽しませてみせなさいよね。特にベアと、私たち、もうあんたには飽きてるの。あんたの魔女伝説殺人ごっこはもうおしまい。あんたの出番もおしまいってわけ。このゲーム版はもう、私とベルンがいただいたわ。あんたなんて、私たちの駒に落ちぶれて、永遠に遊ばれてるのがお似合いよ。
夏日もベアトも、薄汚い真実という腹綿を、薄皮一枚で包んだだけのズタ袋だわ。それをズタズタに引き裂いて、中身を引きずり出すことこそ、私の。いいえ、私たちの数少ない娯楽なの。
楽しく遊べるわよ。ねえ、見てる？ベアトリーチェ。あんたのゲーム版はこんなにも楽しく遊べるのよ。私が見せてあげるわ。本当に楽しい第5のゲームをね。
私たちばっかり気持ちよく喋っちゃかわいそうだわ。ベアトにも喋らせてあげたら？
だそうよ。特別に発言を許すわ。今回のゲームの抱負でも言っちゃったら何もないって。そうよね、そうよね。 あんたバトルに屈しちゃった負け犬だもんね。私に任せなさい。魔女側優勢に一気に流れを変えてあげるから。ただあんたという駒はサクリファイスさせてもらっちゃうけどね。
碑文も第一の番以前にあっさり解かれ、黄金の番人ベアトリーチェも型なしですね。
夏日の幻想として駒に残れてよかったじゃない。ま、もうあんたの扱いは駒じゃなくてピンなんだけどね。
黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェなんてもう出番はないのよ。あんたとその家具たちは私のゲームではほんのちょい役やられ役。気持ちよーくすっ飛ばされて私とベルのおもちゃにされなさいよ。
嫌ならやめてって一言言ってみて。そしたらやめてあげるから。嫌
じゃないってあんたピン確定ね。
There's no need for a golden witch anymore. All that's needed is a sacrificial doll so that we two witches can enjoy some time playing. Die, disappear. Confess to your filthy past and your crimes. Pour out your sob story of regret and repentance as you throw yourself off a cliff and die. There will be no more appearances for the Golden Witch. This will be a most horrible game. On the surface, it does look very similar to the usual tales. However, there is no respect given to the true main characters of this tale. This is supposed to be a tale to the witch. The Golden Witch, Beatrice, invited Ushimi a battler. However, the host has been lost and there is no longer a guest. With both inviter and invitee now gone, only the worst kind of tale remains. Welcome to the 5th game, End of the Golden Witch. Welcome to a party with neither host nor guests hijacked by wicked witches.
いいバトラー、いよいよ2日目を始めるわよ。私はベアトみたいにトロい展開は嫌いなんだから。
好きにしやがれ。お前が何をかき回そうと、俺は必ずこのゲームの真相にたどり着いてやる。
そうでなくては困ります。妹さんのためにもしっかり戦わなくちゃ。ご安心を。ラムダデルタ卿はベアトリーチェの間抜けと違い、はるかに恐ろしい相手ですが、私がしっかりサポートするので問題ありません。私と一緒に今度こそ魔女幻想を暴いてやろうではありませんか。
お前なんか知らねえ。ベアとのゲームにいなかった存在など俺は認めもしないし必要ともしない。
強がり言ってる場合ですか。まあお互いせいぜい頑張りましょう。一緒に魔女幻想とやらを引き裂いてやりましょう。
Erica brazenly put her hand out for me to shake. Instead of just passively ignoring this, I gave her an active and clear answer by knocking her hand aside.
握手は嫌いだそうよ。エンジェと同じなのね。
ご安心を。私はエンジェよりはるかに役立つ駒ですので、バトラさんの闘志を回復する以外何もできなかったひき肉とはわけが違います。
頼もしそうな仲間に恵まれて嬉しいわね。かつてはワルギリアにロの上、エンジェまで来てくれたわ。そしてとうとうベルにエリカまで。あんたを応援してくれる駒たちはこんなにもたくさん。それでも未だに真相の尻尾すらつかめない無能っぷりってどんな気持ち？どんな気持ち？
関係ねえな。これは俺とベアとの戦いだ。その他の誰であろうと。
ああ、そうなの。やっと独り立ち。いっつも誰かに助けられ、 情けをかけられてばかりのあんたが、どこまで一人でできるやら。楽しませてもらうわ。
取り戻すぜ。これは俺たちのゲームだ。お前たちは、お呼びじゃね
え。ええ、そうよね。これはあなたたちのゲームだわ。なら取り戻してごらんなさいよ。手加減だらけだったベアとのゲームさえ勝てなかったあんたが、誰の助けもなく一切の容赦のないラムダのゲームをどこまで戦えるのか。
ではお目覚めなさい、後ろ宮バトラー。ようこそ10月5日の朝へ。
Was it someone's alarm clock? A repetitive electronic beeping noise filled the room. Batley, who had gone to bed late and hadn't had anywhere near enough sleep yet, covered his head in his blanket and waited for someone to turn off the alarm. But no matter how much time passed, the beeping didn't stop. I see. The point of an alarm clock isn't just to be loud enough to wake you, but to be annoying enough to keep you from wanting to fall back asleep. Hey, guys, alarm's going off. Make it stop, please. Why do we always sound so annoyed when first waking up? Well, it does make sense. After all, we're still sleepy and in a bad mood. However, there was absolutely no sign that my annoyed voice had caused anyone to turn over in their sleep, much less crawl out of bed to stop the alarm. Letting out a deep sigh, I flung the covers off of me and got up. With the shutters down on the windows, there was almost no light getting in, and the room was as dim as it had been earlier. Though even if the shutters hadn't been down, there's no way that this dull weather would have let enough sun to make this a pleasant morning. My cousins were still wrapped in their beds, sound asleep and taking no notice whatsoever of that beeping. Normally, once any one person gets up, the others tend to automatically follow. I noted that the law of consecutive summer camp awakenings that I'd come up with had just been broken. I drowsily searched for the source of the sound. I could hear it coming from a wristwatch set on the table. Judging by the style of the watch, it was probably George Heineke's. Taking a random guess, I pushed a small button on the side of it and the sound stopped. Apparently, it had been set for 7 in the morning. Is it already 7? Sorry, but I really don't feel like I slept at all. Playing cards had been left on the table as though they had stopped mid-game. The game looked like 7s. Damn it, I've got a piercing headache. The hell was all that last night? The amount of gold and the subsequent argument between our parents, it all feels like a bad dream. Breakfast normally starts at 8. Now isn't a bad time to start getting up and getting dressed. The adults probably won't argue in front of us cousins. In that case, I think I'll stay with my cousins all day long. I'm sure they'll be able to keep me away from all that annoying talk about gold and being the successor and all. In fact, I should have done that in the first place. I slept with my clothes on last night too, so I'm drenched in sweat. Gross. Guess I'll take a shower. I'm sure the others want it too. At this age, it's embarrassing to wake them by shaking their shoulders. If I turn the TV on, everyone will probably wake up. Well, let's at least turn the lights on for now. In this dim light with the quiet sound of the continuing wind and rain, it really doesn't feel like morning come yet. I flipped the light switch, and then that dimly lit morning ended. Why was I not surprised to find out that since no one decided to turn off the alarm clock, they would probably be dead?
あんまりやないか。こんな真似がどうして許されるんや。
as they clung to Anaki's corpse knowing that he would never wake up again. Auntie Ava and Uncle Hideyoshi cried.
もうおよしなさい。ジョージ君がこんな姿をお二人に見せたいと思いますか？思うわけがない。
姉貴、気持ちはわかるが、今は南條先生に任せるんだ。
あんたにはわかんないわよ。ジョージが殺されたのよ。ジョージ
南條先生の言う通りや。ジョージのこんな無体な姿をいつまでも見ていたらあかん。ジョージのためにも今は耐えるんや。
When Auntie Ava tried even hard to cling to that corpse, Dad and Uncle Hideyoshi dragged her away and had a heated debate with her beside the wall.
いやよ、いやジョージ南條先生、手当てをして。
Is Jessica dead too?
血が足りないなら輸血を。私とジョージは同じ血液型です。だからお願い、南條先生。
エヴァさん、お気の毒だが、今のジョージ君に必要なのはあなたの血ではないのです。
Dr. Nanjo shook his head slightly, then nodded across to where I stood. I softly pulled the blanket up and covered George Anaki's body. His throat had been split wide open. The wound was probably larger and deeper than his mouth. Did it look like a clean and neat corpse now that his neck was at least covered? Of course not. The large amount of blood that had spilled from the wound stained the bed a horrible dark red, and even covering him with the blanket couldn't hide the blood that had poured out. After all, there were large dark red stains in the blanket too, so that even once he was covered with it, the gruesomeness of the body was still being thrust in our faces. So I stripped the blankets off my bed and placed one on top. But I only had 2 blankets, so if I covered just one more body, I wouldn't be able to cover any more. Feeling pity for the ones I couldn't cover. For some reason, in spite of the situation, I muttered, "Don't complain about not getting the same as everyone else," inside my head.
キリエ、みんなに毛布をかけてやれ。風邪をひいちまう。
ええ。
Kirie and I covered the other bodies with their blankets in the same way as George Anaki's. The other bodies? So, Jessica did die. What about Maria? So that they wouldn't have to suffer the indignity of having their terrible wounds exposed like this anymore. So, we know Rosa left 2 hours early last night. And we know that Goda, as well as Nanjo, were the ones in the cousin's room or guest house, whatever you want to call it, where they're staying. So there are 3 suspects thus far. In one bed rested Jessica. Jessica was exactly the same as George Anaki. Though she appeared to be resting quietly in the bed, her throat had been sliced deep and the wound lay open in a brutal way. And Maria was the same. Not only Maria, there was one more victim. Lying on the same bed sleeping alongside her was Auntie Rosa. George Anaki, Jessica, Maria, and Auntie Rosa. Okay, well, I heard the sound. That leaves Nanjo. I'm clicking the wrong one. That leaves Nanjo and Goda. Hold on, let's check this. Corpse discovered in the cousin's room on the upper floor of the guest house. The direct cause of death is unknown, but his neck was sliced open by a sharp blade. The wound was deep enough that anyone could easily confirm his death with absolute certainty. Yep, same thing here. Same thing here. Same thing here. I could easily think that Rosa killed both Jessica and George. I'm a little neutral on the fact that she could have killed her daughter too, because she actually could be that selfish. But I don't know how she'd be able to kill herself and still make herself look innocent. All we have left to go on by is that we have Nanjo and Goda. Thus far, anyway. In this room were 4 people who had been killed, their throats sliced open. They'd probably been like that since last night, And Battler didn't notice it because it was dark and he thought they were all sleeping. Okay, so if anything, guys, I'm gonna have to end it here for today. Thank you all for watching. When we come back, we're gonna continue on with the beginning of Chapter 5 or Episode 5's murder scene.